Well, thanks for carving some time out. I see that you have been very busy in life and music.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that first life piece. Um, you just graduated from college.
I did. Yeah.
How does it feel after all that work, toiling and whatnot?
Well, I mean, I ended up getting an IT degree, so it was like I wanted to be a musician first and foremost. So it wasn't something that like I was overly overjoyed about. I don't like school, so I was happy. Glad
Glad it's over.
glad it's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just next phase of life, and I'm excited to not have homework and just experience that and like I don't know.
It's a
It's
great accomplishment, though.
yes, yes.
Give
As I've
yourself
been
that.
reminded, you should be happy. You should be proud of yourself, which I am.
Absolutely.
Son.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you are, let me go back in time a little bit. I have been doing radio in Boston for a long time, and that affords me the great privilege and honor of meeting so many musicians in the city like yourself. And I have known Dan Nicklin for about at least 10 years.
Yeah.
I I did not know that you were working with Dan Nicklin before I started, listening to you and getting into your music and playing you on the show. And then I found out after the fact. So, how did you meet Dan Nicklin? How did this relationship with Henley Rule come together?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So my business collaborator, Mark K, kind of put us together. He thought that we'd work well together, and he's known Dan for 20 years. Everyone's known Dan for at least a couple of decades, which is funny.
I have a better story though. I'll tell you after.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's basically how we got together. And we both musically are very different,
Mhm.
but we both have the same goal in terms of what we want to see, whether it's my projects or his projects that I feature on or whatever. We both have the same goal that we're trying to attain. And so I've been let into this like Henley Row community, which was really cool and really exciting. So it's been a good process so far. Still being continued.
Do you see yourself collaborating even more, like with other, like performing with other artists and maybe writing with the other artists too?
Yes, yes. This is all very early, but there's a good chance I'll have a collab on not my project coming out, but the one after that that I'm currently working on.
Mhm.
Should be a first. But I'm excited for it. So
You
yeah.
are you appear to me
Mhm.
from outside looking in, you appear to be always doing something.
Yeah.
Are you the type of artist, and I probably know the answer because I'm asking you this. Are you the type of artist that it's in your blood that you just have to do it, regardless of the outcome, regardless if anybody ever hears it or sees it? Are you that kind of artist? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah. I have always like once I realized and I was like, I'm gonna be a musician, even though I didn't really play anything or couldn't sing at the time. Once I decided that, I mean, I was pretty much balls to the wall. There was not really anything or anyone that could, you know, stop that from happening or prevent that me from being who I feel like I truly am. So it's just, yeah, I'm always trying to make new music. I'm always making new songs. I'm always working on something just because that's my lifeblood. And that's kind of what, you know, keeps me going.
Mhm, mhm. Now that things are starting to slowly open up, I say slowly, but it's actually not slow anymore. I am continuously getting show announcements. So, what is the next, 6 months to a year going to look like for Senseless Optimism? Which I always want to say Senseless Apprentice, by the way, because of Nirvana, and I know you're a fan.
I'm a huge Nirvana fan. Um, that is not what inspired the name, but I also really do love that song.
Me too.
I appreciate the reference. Um, yeah, so when it comes to shows, me and Mark have been discussing about next steps in terms of that because I always played house shows, and I love playing house shows, and that's kind of my dream. But I also have realized, you kind of have to get out of your comfort zone. And house shows, everyone's intoxicated already, so it's a little bit more free flowing. It's more relaxing, and it's it's a little bit chill. But like a real show is like a real show. I mean, they're all real shows, but I don't know. I don't entirely know about shows. Probably more live streams, also some actual live gigs.
Mhm.
That'd be good to do.
Do you
Um,
like live streaming?
it's okay. It's not necessarily my go-to. I would say I prefer, like, my happiest spot, if live streaming or uh, not live streaming, would be at a house show or at like a intimate kind of show. That would be my happy place for some reason. It's just feeding off the audience, and you're going back and forth, and so yeah. But I don't necessarily dislike live streaming. It's just something newer that due to COVID came
Mhm.
around. Yeah.
Mhm. It was pretty much forced on everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really.
Yeah.
Very quick story. When we were talking about Dan Nicklin, one of the first times I met Dan Nicklin, we almost got in a fist fight.
Oh, what happened? Why?
I think we probably have very similar personalities in that, we know who we are and we know what we do. And it was one of those things where we kind of met and locked horns, and then it turned and we became very, very good friends.
Okay.
And when he watches this, he's going to laugh at that because he'll have more to add to the story, I'm quite sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to hear about it.
So let's talk about what you're working on right now. So you've been releasing
Mhm,
some singles.
mhm.
Lonely Days came out. Oh, and I know I had a question about Lonely Days. What is it like to take a cotton candy bath?
It's phenomenal. It's sticky. One thing I will say that I didn't anticipate with the cotton candy bath is that when I was a kid, eating cotton candy was great. Like, I looked forward to it. As an adult, eating cotton candy is like, this feels like cholesterol building, and it's just it's
Very
not the favorite
sticky.
food. Very sticky. It was a little bit annoying to clean. But in terms of the bath itself, it was enjoyable. It was just the eating that was a little bit strange.
It was very cool, and it made for great visuals, of course.
Thank you, thank you.
You
Yeah,
laying in these like puffy, pink and blue clouds.
absolutely.
Yeah. You really kind of knock it out of the park on videos.
Oh, thank you.
Are
Yeah.
you are you is that your idea? Are those are the treatments, I guess, if you will, are those your ideas? Let's talk about where those ideas come from, because the last one was a bit true crimey, which I'm really
Yeah.
into.
Well, the next one's gonna definitely be true crimey. There's a lot that's coming that's gonna be very exciting. So yeah. But when it comes to the ideas, I'm a huge fan of collaboration, and typically I riff off of other people.
Mhm.
So my brother and I, who often directs a lot of my videos, we would, say, okay, well, I'm thinking about this, and it's like, oh, well, actually, this would work. And I said, that's a great idea. Well, we can do this as well, and so that's kind of how we come up with these ideas. But with the cotton candy bath, the videographer for the shoot, his name is Anthony Gomes, or Fourth Wall Visuals. He sent me Oliver Tree. He was in a bathtub of Cheetos. And I was like, "It's really cool to put cotton candy instead of
Yeah.
Cheetos." We got to figure out a way to connect the rest of the video.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's always about collaboration for me, and kind of finding the best that we can do with the group. Sorry, my mom and brother are walking through.
Hi, Mom.
She says hi.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, my mom's in town, so
Oh,
yeah.
because you just graduated, right? Where's Mom? So you live here locally.
I live here.
Does your mom live far away?
Yeah, you could say you could definitely say that. Not in the country.
Oh, right. Because I know you've grown up in a few different places.
I have, yeah, yeah. I ended up coming back here for college.
Mhm. No, will you stay?
Yes, yes. I figured before I was moving here, I was trying to figure out where I was going to go to college, because I knew overseas you couldn't really pursue a music career. It's not exactly as easy or as simple as it is in the US or more Western countries. So I was debating which place to go to, and at the time, I mean, I still love rock, and I wanted to be a rock star. So I was trying to figure out, okay, well, in England they love rock music, and so maybe but the U.S. is really good because they have, I mean, people blow up here. This is the place where they really blow up. So I ended up deciding to go to the U.S. and yeah, I have no intention of leaving anytime soon.
And you settled in Massachusetts. What was the reason for that? Did you have friends or family here already?
Yes. My parents have like a house here, which is the one I'm staying in. So I just, stayed here, and UMass Lowell is cheap for in-state. So it was all logical and fell together, and yeah, pretty much.
How have you been spending your time outside of studying in school and writing and recording? What are the other things that have been inspiring you? I'm dying to know. Cotton candy baths being one of them.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One, I started skateboarding recently, which has been really fun and great exercise because I wasn't doing that before, other than drums. So it's been good, the skateboard. But also I just watch a lot of Netflix, which kind of inspires the true crime because I like crime shows or serial killer documentaries, things like that.
Oh, so, we are going to be best friends.
Yeah. 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 So that's kind of where the because I watched Narcos and I got really inspired by Narcos. And I love TV shows. I have this rule where if I eat anything, I have to watch like an episode of a TV show or a movie that I haven't seen before. I don't know when I created this rule or why, but I've had this rule for at least 10 years. And so I'm always watching a new TV show during the time I eat.
So what are some of I love to talk about how people have filled their time during the last, month, year. I've certainly taken in a whole hell of a lot of Hulu and Netflix and Apple Plus and all of this nonsense. Narcos, I know that you gave that a tip of the hat. What else have you been digging?
The Serpent.
Oh, yeah. I have not even tapped that. That's very true crimey, isn't it?
It is. Well, it's about a serial killer in South Asia. And it's kind of wild because they didn't go to Sri Lanka, which is where I lived. They went to Thailand and they went to India, which it was kind of weird because the thing is my family has been to these places, but it was based in the 70s. So like, oh, it's a really good show. It's a really good show, not just because it's just a really good show. And it's about a serial killer in the 1970s who would prey on people that were tourists or what's the term? People who would leave the country or any country to go and explore.
Like sort of transient traveler people?
Exactly. They went on, like after college or after high school, they went on a trip to go through Southeast Asia and experience, and he would target those people and then murder them, rob them. Yeah. So it's about how he came to get caught or not get caught. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's really good.
Really, really good. I am actually shocked that I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, it's a good one. And there's not a lot of information on him too, which is great.
So you must have seen the Richard Ramirez one.
Yes.
And the Cecil Hotel one.
No.
Oh.
I do know of it. It's on my list. But it's like why people are always getting murdered in that hotel?
There are a lot of stories associated with that hotel. And their general manager, who you will see in the documentary, has a very interesting take and a very interesting sort of presentation on the history of the hotel. I feel like if you are into true crime like that, you would really dig it and take a lot away from it and find some inspiration in it.
Oh, absolutely. I am heavily inspired by anything true crimey. I've loved it ever. I mean, ever since I've been in high school, which I feel like is everybody. I don't know, you know.
I think a lot of us have some weird, I know that every time I say, it's kind of a joke, like I want to relax and watch, like a serial killer thing. And it doesn't always go over well with the people. Like, what do you mean you want to relax? I'm like, I can't explain it. I'm not a psycho. I will never kill anyone. But there's something about the psychology of it that is,
Exactly.
I guess, fascinating.
Yeah, it's all about the psychology. I'm very big into psychology, so it's good that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about the morbidity or the action of the kill, because that's horrendous.
Yeah.
I really like something like Mindhunter. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's right up my that's it. That's
Yeah.
right up my alley right there.
I was so sad when I finished it. Is there another season coming?
No.
Oh.
I was hoping, but I guess they pulled the plug on it. Do you do podcasts too?
Do I listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
I do. I don't necessarily listen to crime podcasts. I would say my number one podcast, super into motivation. I mean, senseless optimism, you'd think. But like Lewis Howes, his School of Greatness podcast is the one podcast that I listen to pretty much every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're faithful.
Try to be. I think COVID is definitely tough times, and even though I've grown up with a lot of uncertainty in my life, it's still not something that I'm completely at home with, because nobody can completely be at home with uncertainty. You don't really know the outcome. You don't really know, And so having people who are teaching you something about the mindset and how best to handle uncertainty and how best to handle the journey of life is something that is very appealing to me.
I think that more people would respond to that if they recognized I think more people would respond to these sorts of things if they recognize the availability of that kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's so readily available, but like I said, people it doesn't always dawn on them.
Yeah.
Until they're in, some sort of dire strait and they're like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah. My brother is the one that showed it to me. It's Kyle Cease. Is the first about money management, because that is not my strong suit. And it was great. I got better with managing money, not much better, but it was an improvement, and getting better day by day. Less eating out or DoorDash eating out, but
well, and that's something that that we dialed way back on when we couldn't go out. We're forced to be at home, so that got creative.
Yeah.
And now we've slowly started to go back out into the world again and eat.
I'm excited. It's been long overdue to go out. I'm seeing again all these show posters pop up, and I'm like, oh, I can go to shows again. So I'm very excited to go to my first show.
You're working on a full-length release.
Yeah, EP.
All right, so 5 or 6 songs, yeah?
5 or 6 songs, yes.
All right, that's good. What's the theme? Do you have a theme that carries throughout that you want to talk about at all, or you want to keep it under wraps? Because you can't, that's okay too.
Yeah, so the thing is, we have a lot of this stuff planned, even though like we're still in the early process again, because my next immediate release will be June 4th, and it's a single called Why, which is the best single I've done so far, hands down. And the music video is the best music video I've done so far. If you like true crime, and the few people my brother and I have shown it to, it creates a visceral reaction out of.
Oh.
Always great to see in a music video, and that doesn't happen very much for a music video. You just expect people to be dancing, and this one really tells a story. And since the Lonely Days video, I've realized, hey, I could actually tell a story with my music videos, and I really like that, because then it's like a TV show. And so that's kind of what I did with the next one. But yeah, with the EP, there's a lot of things in process, but there's like a specific thing that we're going to do with the EP but I don't want to put it out just yet because it might get stolen. It's a very good idea.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a very good idea.
Fair enough.
But yeah, yeah, just I don't have it copyrighted or anything. I wouldn't. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
let's talk a little bit about you're pretty well versed in digital, in the ways of the digital world musically. Is that fair to say? Where did that start? Aside from being an artist who releases music, I know so many artists that don't want to really find out, right?
Yeah.
How did you learn? How did you get into it?
So before I came back to the US, I spent it was kind of useless. It wasn't useless that I did this, but anyways, I spent like 3 or 4 years preparing to move back to the US or to start my music career, essentially. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that was studying history, studying psychology, studying how to write good songs, studying social media marketing, just studying a bunch of stuff. And so that drive and that curiosity just kind of carried over, and I just consistently am watching a new video on how do you do this, or what's this new platform, or not platform. The newest one is TikTok right now, but what's this new aspect to Instagram, or what's TikTok's new algorithm like? Not that I'm like a huge TikTok person, but you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I constantly keep
You're watching trends.
Mm-hmm. Well, not necessarily trends, but just updates. Mm-hmm. I was not really a trendy person. I mean, up until 2 years ago, I pretty much thought that the best music was in the 60s and 70s. I mean, I was one of those people. So I came to change that.
I don't think that's anything to scoff at.
No, it's a
very inspiring time.
Yeah, it was. And I don't necessarily think that it's not 100% untrue, but I also think that there is still good music today, and I shouldn't like Mac DeMarco, Mustard Service. I could just name a bunch of acts that are modern but aren't bad. And mm-hmm. So it was a little bit closed-minded of me to say, but at the time, I just never was somebody who was super into trends, but I always tried to understand the math behind it, mm-hmm. so that I can use it to the best of my ability, which I'm still working on, mm-hmm. but it's been a process. Yeah.
I know that Spotify confuses a lot of people. Does it make more sense to you?
Oh, I don't really know what they're confused about and what I'm confused about, and I don't really know. What is it that confuses people? I love giving advice on this stuff too. So,
conversation. I don't personally use Spotify in my regular life. I use it for. I use it. I post a podcast on it, but I don't use it in my regular life. I listen to music. I think I consume music differently than a lot of people. The majority of my music listening is for the show. So I don't use Spotify for that. I just have people send. I would prefer people just send me music directly. It's just so much easier that way.
Yeah, my brother's like that.
Yeah. And I just think that people don't understand the concept. I mean, they understand the concept of posting a song and hoping that people are going to find it and listen to it. But the whole prospect of getting on a playlist and how that works, and it takes, supposedly it's like months in advance from the release.
Oh, the editorial playlists.
Yeah, I think people get really frustrated by that.
Oh, I am in them with the frustration. I can say from what I've learned, the majority of big Spotify playlists that people still listen to are heavily label, connected. Mm-hmm. But there are still Spotify editorial playlists that aren't completely just people who are Warner Music Bros and huge major labels like that, or big independent labels. And so there's still hope for us specs, but yeah, you would have to put it up at least like from the people who've been able to get on Spotify editorial playlists, they have no proof. Some of them have proof that they were able to get on YouTube and stuff. But like when I scoured through Reddit, a lot of those people ended up putting it up at least 7 days in advance. When it comes to pitching it, I personally, not that I've gotten on yet, but I hope one day I will. At least a month in advance, just because a lot of people are sending them, pitching their songs. But the goal wouldn't necessarily be, I mean, editorial playlists are great, but the thing is, once you're out of that, then your numbers start to decrease anyways, because a lot of people, there's not a lot of turnover from playlists anymore. So it's better to get on more listener playlists, but that's a lot more work and a lot more money. And I mean, it's money, period. But I would say listener playlists or user playlists are a lot better, just because you have more turnover, and also you probably be on there for longer. You have less competition.
So you know even more than most, I think, people in the community know. You should teach a class.
Yeah, I know. Mark keeps saying that. We should teach
you could.
media class.
You could.
Yeah, I study it pretty much every day. It's like, but casually, not like I wake up at 9 a.m., which I never do, and spend an hour studying social media and then this or that. I just, while I'm working and not doing my job efficiently, I'm going to watch a YouTube video on how I got to 100,000, followers on Instagram, and how I
How
take
is that?
photos.
And how is that?
A lot of it is due to them just being a really hot Instagram model.
Just constant content too.
And also constant content. And lately, content has been difficult for me because I don't have as much time to go out and do a photo shoot every day. So that's a lot of.
I get it.
Yeah. And I used to do photo shoots every 2 weeks or so I just had a bunch of backlog content, and I could post every 2 days. But now I'm just like, well, I'm going to post every 3 days, and we're just going to keep moving. But yeah, it's a lot of work. If you don't want to go 100% in it, then like, I don't want to say don't do it, but I would say like, I would go
some help.
Yeah, maybe get some help. But it also depends on your goals. So like for me, my goal is for people to find me through social media. And so the amount of work I would have to put in compared to, you want to keep your followers up to date, and you want to keep, the people who like your music up to date. And if any new people come, that's great, but you're not aiming for that. You're going to have a completely different experience and completely different goals than me. So I always have to keep up with that stuff, just because that's what I want to do. And it's the choices we make. I just like creating work for myself.
Do you want to ultimately tour when the time is right?
Yeah, absolutely. Never toured before, but I plan on doing it. I don't know when or how or exactly how it would work, but that's definitely something that's on my to-do list, at least in the next 2 years.
And how would you do it? Would you tour solo, or would you bring accompaniment with you?
Ideally accompaniment, just because before COVID happened, I was in a band. So I just, I really like collaboration for some reason. And I just really like working with different people. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of Led Zeppelin. Should have worn a Led Zeppelin shirt. But the thing that I love about Led Zeppelin is the fact that everyone's bringing their own style in, and it's creating something amazing. And so from the beginning, like, I always wanted something like that. So even if, like, I don't necessarily, I mean, some things can't change about the songs, but generally, if they're changed in any capacity, it's something that I encourage, just because they're bringing their own style into it. And I'm not playing all the instruments, which I'm not on this next one anyways, but.
Are you completely self-taught?
When it comes to guitar, no. I got some early lessons about keys and, early notes. When it comes to everything else, pretty much. I've had a couple singing lessons, which were good. They're definitely helpful, especially because I stopped practicing at the time. So it's good to come back.
Singing in the shower, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I would practice in the shower. I wanted to be Lou Reed and Bob Dylan, and they didn't practice. I said, well, I used to practice 2 hours a day when I first started teaching myself how to sing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some serious dedication to invest into that.
Just imagine how many hours I practiced drumming.
Yeah.
Not even joking. Yeah.
Wow.
I was in high school, so we'd have our little break, and I'd go to like this corner of the hall where nobody would really walk past except for the janitors, and I'd have Black Sabbath, Paranoid album in my headphones, and I just have my sticks with me, and I'm like, yeah, every break. Yeah, I wouldn't eat. I would just practice. But yeah, very, very dedicated. When it comes to music, I'm lazy with everything else, but with music, works. So
what's your one favorite record that you take with you wherever you move, wherever you go, that if it wears out, you have to replace? There's got to be one or two of them that are just like top shelf.
Nick Drake's Pink Moon, I'd probably say, because that one was really integral in terms of my singing style, in terms of the way I envisioned my own songwriting. Nick Drake is a huge influence of mine. And a lot of people are like, oh, I could see the influence. I'm like, of course you can. It's pretty big.
I see a lot. I see a lot of different styles in your music that are totally unconnected. Like I hear jazz in there.
Yeah.
I know that you do mention that in some of your in somewhere in your one of your bios. And I know that you're a big fan of, rock, but you're also a big fan of African artists too. So that's that's kind of like a greatest combination that there can be.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, a lot of that just happened. It wasn't planned. But is it ever really planned?
No.
And if it is, then it's not gonna be well received because people can see inauthenticity. But yeah, no, that's kind of the music that was played in the house was African music. And a lot of that like Kofi Olomide and I can't remember any of the names, but the reason why is just because we didn't really worry about names. We just listened to the music.
You liked it. You liked it.
Exactly. And so a lot of times we wouldn't even understand what they're saying, but it was just the beat and the rhythm. My dad always says though, you're African, so you should add African music to your music. So we're gonna try. We got some African instruments, and we're gonna try on this next release, or the one we're working on after this release.
Have you been practicing?
Yes, I've been trying. I've been trying with the Shakir, which I only learned what it's called recently because Dan was like, "Oh, I got a Shakir for the song," and I was like, "I don't know what a Shakir is." Mind you, I've lived in Africa for 8 years. No, I lived in Sri Lanka for 3, so 9 years. And I didn't know what it was called, but I don't know. I don't think Africans really, we don't really think about the names of things. We just use it.
I mean, some people create their own.
Yeah, sometimes you create your own thing. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've seen a Shakira all my life, so we're just practicing it. So hopefully, and I also know people here, like in Massachusetts, who can play them a lot better than me. So we'll try and do some of that too. But yeah, I grew up with African music, and then in middle school, my friend Sebastian, who's half Dutch and half what was he? I'm thinking it's some kind of Latinx country, but I was in middle school. It's been a while. No, Ecuadorian, I believe. And he showed me Led Zeppelin, and his first band was like, what was the first band? They created a Welcome to the Jungle.
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. And that was the first band I actually like learned how to play drums to.
Wow.
And I refused to listen to anything other than the first album because they kicked out their drummer. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stay loyal. But yeah, no, I just fell into it, and I was shown, and I fell in love with it. And then, as I got older, I just kind of listened to more jazz, and it's just or jazz influenced stuff.
Do you do covers?
Not enough.
Yeah.
I learned through songwriting. So sometimes I would play some like a part of a cover, and I'm like, oh, I got a new idea. I have ADHD, not actually, but I feel like I do sometimes. But when it comes to covers, Mark and I agree that it's something that I should invest more time into. I'm just busy writing my own stuff.
Of course. But, it kind of takes the edge off sometimes. And I think that, if you pull out a cool cover, a totally unexpected cover, or something, I think it's endearing. I think audiences find that a little bit endearing, and then it just sort of maybe brings you a bit closer to each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've seen other artists do that, where they make some like an R&B song into something completely unique.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely see the benefits of covers. I just haven't really delved. Like when it came to drums, I would only play covers because it's drums.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to guitar, I just, I learned 12 chords, and I started a band, and then from that band, I just never.
Where's the band?
Well, we had to take a hiatus because of COVID, and we all just started doing our own projects. But on the next single that is coming out called Why, my old drummer, Darren, came and played a little percussion on the song, which was really cool.
Nice.
So we keep in touch, but we just ended up doing completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens in life.
Are they all based in Lowell?
One is like New Hampshire, but pretty much we're all driving area. Another one's Beverly, Mass.
Okay.
But the majority of us went to UMass Lowell, except for the saxophonist named Oriel, and he was based in Lawrence, but
close.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're all a close distance. And if we had to go to gigs, I'd drive all of us there, or I'd drive 3 of us there and meet Oriel there, and it's a wild time.
Hey, those days are coming back to us.
Yeah, they are. It's crazy.
Those days are coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's always great to be able to chat. And my joke, and when we spoke last time, my joke was, it's nice to see people even if they're on little rectangular screens. But eventually the time is going to come where we don't have to do that anymore. And it feels a little bit terrifying, but also a great relief at the same time.
I would completely agree, because especially being away from most people or just large crowds, and I'm introverted, so to be away from large crowds for a while, you kind of get acclimated to being alone, and so going back into large crowds is definitely a little bit nerve-wracking, but again, also exciting because you get to see people again.
And I think there's going to be a fair amount of that, and I just keep talking, when I talk about this stuff online, or if I mention, hey, shows are back and all this, everybody's gonna have some sort of, some people are gonna be like, let me out of the house, and we know those people, but some people are gonna have that trepidation of, I just feel weird or nervous or afraid or whatever those things are. people are going to go at their own pace. And when all the shows start, booking, not everyone's going to be comfortable just to run out and see every single show. So we have to be mindful of that. People, and also what I've also noticed over the last year plus, a lot of people have relocated. Some people have left the city entirely.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier because a lot of the contacts that I had, I mean, I still have them, but they're not really doing the same things that they were doing pre-COVID. And so it's like, yeah, the house shows I used to go to, they may not even reopen again. And you really have to just wait and see what is going to happen and who's going to come out and who's going to put on shows and, when, and, it's just, there's a lot of uncertainty, like you said. And again, how you're going to react to that too. But yeah, a lot of people took COVID to relocate, which was, kind of a smart decision. But even though the prices were so low.
Well, that's the thing. If people found that if they could work remotely, why are they going to pay these outrageous rents and be crammed in these tiny apartments? I can relate to that. I mean, I haven't lived in the city in a really long time, and I wouldn't go back.
Yeah, I never was somebody that I like peace. I'm kind of a suburban kid, although I've lived in cities, but it's not like New York or Boston, where it's constantly loud, or I just don't like a lot of loud noises.
I mean, I love the cities. I absolutely love them, but I know you're a musician and you don't like loud noises.
Yeah.
I love the cities. I love the areas. When I go to New York, or Los Angeles, there's just, each city brings a special yet different feeling for me. But I do love that peacefulness of, not having to fight for parking spaces and the loudness of, the person having a fight in the apartment that you share a wall with next door. I don't miss it.
Yeah. Oh, we're all works of progress.
Well, it was great to see you. I look forward to the new song and the new video and the EP. Do you have a name that you want to reveal, or you're sitting tight on it?
For the EP?
Yeah.
Sitting tight. It's still early in the process.
You're not sure yet. Okay.
No. No. To put it 100.
Yeah.
No, I just kind of realized the overall theme, like yesterday.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is fresh.
Oh yeah, this is absolutely fresh. I mean,
fresh.
Me and Dan and Nate Levitt have been like going through songwriting sessions with the songs that I'll create, and we're trying to improve them, which I've never really done before. I did it once actually with this next song, but it was not with Dan or Nate. It was completely random, and it was very helpful with this really, really cool artist based in New York. Not anymore, but so it's been really cool collaborating with them and like seeing my habits and breaking them, which has been really cool. And this EP is, the songs that we have on it, even the song that I wrote last night, which is going to be added onto it, is like, it's definitely the best work I've done so far, hands down. So I'm very excited. And then of course the videos for it, the plan for the videos, I'm very excited for that. It's going to be a lot of money, but I'm excited to be done.
Like props, like real prop heavy?
No, it's not. It's more of the concept.
Okay.
It's just off the record. I'll tell you.
I will take it out.
Kind of.
This is the one that's coming out.
Why? Yeah. There's going to be a show for June 3rd with everybody from Henley Row.
Yeah, I'm hosting it.
There we go. I'm very excited for that.
Surprise!
I'm not shocked at all. But yeah, I'm really excited for that one to see everybody's projects, and I've heard a lot of the songs, but I'm excited to see the visual aspect because, yeah, I don't know, something just clicked after that. I was like, wow, I really could do a lot with the visual.
I think it's a great added part of the creative to carry on that, like, much like you're doing. You're creating the theme and carrying that through, and it's gonna give it added life. You know, people release a video and it's there, and then sort of it's gone.
Yeah.
But you're gonna create the series of videos to carry the story through, and I think that's a brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've currently been reading this book, which it's called Contagious, and it's why things go viral. And that's not necessarily the goal of what this whole idea is, but in order to make an impact, you need to cause some kind of reaction to what you're doing. And again, a lot of the music videos I've watched, or and this could be for any artist. I mean, a lot of times music videos are really good in terms of props and costume, but they don't necessarily make me feel anything. It's like, oh, this is really cool to look at, you know. So I wanted to be like a TV show, even though I'm not a professional actor, and even though I'm not the best actor. You know, we're all works in progress, and I'm just, yeah.
Well, you got to start somewhere, and look at you now. You started, you know, playing drums during lunch break in the, you know, the closet across from the janitor's office. Now look at you.
And boxes. I learned on boxes. It's my favorite. Yeah. Literally, boxes in a de-inflated basketball.
You got to start somewhere, and look at you now.
Yeah, now I have a drum set.
You're well on your way. All right. Well, I will make sure that I take out some of those specifics.
Yeah. Thank you.
Not let the cat out of the proverbial bag.
Yeah, I want it to be a really good surprise. And I'm curious to see people's genuine reactions. And also, the thing is, it wouldn't be released released all together. It would be like week 1.
Slow rollout.
Yeah. Also, well, one, because it's great in terms of promotion, but also it's like a TV show.
Yep. You have to wait. You can't binge it all at once. You have to wait until the next week.
Exactly.
I'm gonna close on this, Brit. HBO, Mayor of Easttown. It's Kate Winslet. It was Evan Peters from. Did you watch American Horror Story? It's from that series.
I've seen the season. But go on.
It's really, really good. It's very suspenseful, and of course, you have to wait week to week to see it. You cannot binge it. So the last episode on Sunday night was very suspenseful and dramatic. And now I have to wait until Sunday night to find out what happens next.
The name of that show again? I want to write it down.
Mayor, M-A-R-E, of Easttown. It's on HBO.
Okay.
It's very true crimey.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for Easttown.
Yeah. See?
Lovely.
All right. Well, take care of you.
Thank you.
Splendid to talk to you.
Absolutely.
And I will see you. I'm sure I will see you on the 3rd in some
capacity.
Aspect. Yeah. And then after that in person, face to face.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send you any links that you may need, or if you need like things to be put in the Dropbox or whatever.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Lonely Days coming up. And all right. Take care of you. Congratulations again on graduating from college, because that is absolutely something that should be celebrated.
I'll drink some wine.
All right.
Thanks.
Be good. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I know it's been a while.